So first I want to say thanks to Harlem 411 for having us on here tonight. Definitely a great thing. So my name is Isaac Scott. I'm actually the Arts and Communication Specialist at the Center for Justice at Columbia University. I'm also the Program Director of the Confined Arts. And the Confined Arts is a platform for currently as well as formerly incarcerated artists to show their work. This platform is also open to those artists who work in and around the prison system, who may not have been arrested or done any time, but they're dedicated to the end of mass incarceration. The platform is also home to those family member artists who have been directly impacted by mass incarceration, whereby a family member may have been arrested or anything in that nature.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for having us. I think it's really important to make sure that the right information gets in the hands of the right people. My name is Johnny Perez. In my day job, I work at the Urban Justice Center's Mental Health Project, which is a civil legal services firm that provides, pro bono work for folks who are underserved. But today, in one of my other roles, I'm also the co-chairperson for the communications committee at the Campaign for Alternatives to Long-Term Isolated Confinement. And today we hope to not only talk about the intersection of art as it relates to solitary confinement and criminal justice, but also talk about an upcoming collaboration that we have going on. So again, thank you for having us, Hollis. Really appreciate it, man.
Well, why don't we get right into the conversation and where you for our flounder a little bit, Linda?
I'm amazed. I'm an art teacher.
That's good. Okay.
I do that too.
Yeah.
And I'm also an artist.
Great,
beautiful.
Great. What kind of art do you do?
Well, fine arts. I do everything.
That's great.
I do everything. I do portraits. Cool. I like that. That's one of the, and I teach it, to children.
Oh, beautiful.
Great.
So I really want to hear what you have to say about incarcerated people doing artwork, because I'm pretty sure that mentally they're expressing themselves.
Yes.
They're doing a lot of expression.
Yes.
So,
you're doing a lot of, as an artist and a formerly incarcerated artist, you're doing a lot of expressing. You're doing a lot. Art is very therapeutic. One thing I always say, you can paint and it'll just take you to another world. So art has the power to not only work in favor of the artist, but also it has the power to change, perspectives. So with this program, it's a 3-part mission to this program, and one of the things we want to use the arts to do is change the narrative that is commonly associated with people like myself who are formerly incarcerated. And we believe that we can do that through the arts because it is a universal language. You may not be a painter, or you may not like fine art, but you love music. You may not like music, but you love poetry. And through this platform, through this program, we'll be able to reach every human being, we believe, because...
So do you go into the prison and they do the art there and you bring it out? How is
so
this
move
going?
Okay, so what we have been doing thus far is what we have up currently is a 3rd edition of the Confined Arts, and especially thanks to the Heyman Center at Columbia University for hosting that 3rd edition. The exhibition is actually still up. It'll be up until the 29th of this month. And what we have done thus far is we've created a platform where we can just spread, mass awareness to the issues centered around mass incarceration and how arts has served to cultivate, more like, yes, I want to say cultivate, and also just like kind of just be helpful and therapeutic to those men and women who have been in prison. And also how it's helped, how it's sustained family members and communities throughout these decades of mass incarceration.
So this art exhibition
is
taking place now at Columbia University.
Yes.
Where?
So Columbia University is on 116th Street in Broadway.
Right.
Okay, so the actual Heyman Center, because if you just try to go there, I'll tell you now, on the air you'll get lost. It's like a little world. So
so how do I?
Yeah. So if you wanted to go, the address is 74 Morningside Drive, and the actual entrance is on 116th Street in between Morningside Drive and Amsterdam Avenue.
Is it free?
It is absolutely, yes, it's absolutely free, and it'll be open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
And what are we going to see there?
Okay, what are you going to see there? You're going to see a number of, you're going to see over, at this exhibition, you're going to see over 100 pieces of art from different artists all around the world. We have artists who are in prison on death row. We also have artists who are former correctional officers. We also have art from family members, and we have art straight from people who have been in prison and who are home
So
now.
tell me this, a person who is on death row,
Yes.
what kind of art have you seen? Tell me about that. It should be. I'm fascinated.
It's funny you ask that question because it's like you think of death row, the narrative associated with that, and you think about what his art is going to look like, and it looks but the man he's a great artist, and the art he has up are portraits. He actually has a portrait of Malcolm X, one of Shirley Chisholm, and another one of Thurgood Marshall up.
Okay.
So his art is not. So you looking at his art, you wouldn't be able to tell he was on death row. The talent that comes out of prison is amazing, and these are some of the ways we will serve to change the narrative, because automatically you think death row artists, you think you're going to see something.
Love coming out of his.
It's a lot of yes.
If I can just add on to that, when we talk about mass incarceration, we talk about incarceration in art. The people in prison, we have some of the most creative, minds locked inside of these cells,
Yeah.
And for myself, I also served 13 years, in prison, and I can tell you throughout my travels, I can tell you that,
You would
some
never
of the most,
tell.
Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. But some
You
of the,
guys are gorgeous.
Thank you.
No, but we talk about changing the narrative, right? When we think about, it even reflects in the language we use. We say prisoner, inmate, so on and so forth. We frown upon that language, but it's only a larger reflection of the dehumanization that people in prison go through and continue to go through even past incarceration. But when you look at art, I think Isaac said it earlier when we said art is universal language, and one of the things that we hope to do, that art has the power to bring different people inside the same space.
Yes,
and I think that we're in a good space right now in a country where people are really looking and can no longer ignore the elephant in the room, and they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. So we've managed to think about how can we use art as a catalyst for not only have these conversations, but also as a catalyst for criminal justice reform. We know that for the policies to change, the culture has to change first.
Yes.
So how else can we humanize somebody that's sitting in death row, sitting in OBCC right now, who's sitting in Attica somewhere, then through the expression of either art, poetry, music, dance, a lot of these things. I mean, I've seen things carved out of soap that you would never believe could even be made. People in prison,
origami specialists.
Absolutely. People in prison do so much with so little.
Well, just because you're incarcerated doesn't mean that your creative juices are not still there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the important thing. I heard somebody mention the humanity. The humanity part, and that's an important thing. I was listening the other night, we were talking about, I think it was Oscar Lopez Rivera, I think that's his name, and they were talking about he spent 37 years in prison and is still struggling, still maintains his humanity, still maintains his dignity. And anybody that knows anything about the prison life knows that that's a hard thing. Maintaining your dignity, maintaining your personality, and maintaining your humanity. Yes. In terms of, and so those things, I say this, I want to emphasize this because I think it's important for us to know that people who are doing this stuff, you are like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, you're like prophets. You're teachers, you're taking in and you're doing a work that is so needed. Yes. So needed. So I want you to I just want you to be encouraged, if that means anything.
Thank you.
To be encouraged in terms of what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sometimes people believe in us more than we believe in ourselves. And when you think about
explain that.
What that means is that, for example, right, people who are incarcerated, they go through extreme amounts of dehumanization, oppression, to the point where a lot of this is actually internalized, and a lot of the clients that I work with, come home really not physically beaten, well, that too sometimes, but kind of spiritually exhausted, where they have this learned helplessness, like, damn, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't feel like I can make things happen.
They've been beaten by the system.
Absolutely, and that's from years of enduring the dehumanization, and it happens in small ways, It can be not having eye contact with an officer for months at a time while you're in solitary.
Yes.
It can be just being called an inmate. It can be called, hey, Perez, 5068, come here.
And
and
then
enduring
sometimes
that.
you're doing time even more so than someone else might be doing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, and in a number of levels. And in addition to that, not only the individual, but we also have to remember that, for every person that's in prison, there's also a collective of people that love them. So not only does the person doing time, but the family also, the mother, the daughter who has to go up to them packages in that winter and things like that.
Amazingly, I just ran across an article, it might have been in the Final Call, might have been in another black newspaper, about a brother who did a certain amount of time.
yeah, it was in the news too. I
Was in the
remember.
news?
Yeah.
And his wife is saying, we are still, he can't get a decent job because of his record. We can't get decent housing because of his record. We can't, there's a number of things that they're affected by because of what has happened to this man. Go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead.
I was going to say felonies are forever. Whether you do a year, a day, a month, 10 years, felonies literally are forever. And the collateral consequences that affect anyone who comes involved with the criminal justice system, the ripple effects are felt for years, if not decades at a time. Obviously, not too long ago, I'm also an activity specialist at the Police Athletic League right here on 119 from Manhattan Avenue. And, as part of that responsibility, I had to talk about, being arrested at 17 years old. And I'm 36. So, so just as an example, and like you said, there's thousands, if not millions of people who are suffering the collateral consequences of having, involvement with the criminal justice system.
Right. But the thing is, my mantra is, you are not what you did, you're what you do.
Yes.
Okay, you're not what you did, you're what you do.
Yeah.
And I know people want to put more of that on, because anyway. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So yes. And Johnny took the words right out of my mouth. Speaking of collateral consequences and how after prison it's like you're still serving time, and that doesn't only affect you; it affects your family. It puts you in a very rough situation coming home where you've changed your heart. You've had a complete life change. You come home and you're discriminated against when you go to apply for a job. They automatically see the felony. No, we're not forget not hiring you. We're not even going to give you a chance to get past the door for us to meet you and see if you're more qualified than the rest of the people here. So how does that affect a man whose patience may be thin, or who has a lot of pressures on him coming home from prison? He's coming home, he has children, he has responsibilities, housing issues, food, transportation. He has all of these issues. And he's doing his best to do the right thing. He goes out there, and you put a stumbling block in his way, one that he can't get over as easy as you want to make it seem. You know what I mean?
As you're saying, art will bring him into his humanity, so that he can, move forward in those areas.
Yes. So we have Nate has joined us, and once again, Nate, I thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for being a part of our Kwanzaa event on the 28th of December. We want to thank you. But introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. Happy New Year's, everyone, and good evening.
Same
My
to
name
you.
is Nate Williams. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I'm a conscious rapper, poet, and I'm just trying to bring change to the music. So I'm just grateful to be here.
So how did you brothers come to know one another?
Okay, so I'm Johnny Perez. We can start with Johnny Perez. In 2013 November, I was released from prison after serving 7 years and 8 months out of a 9-year sentence. Employment was a big thing coming home for me. Came home. I have 3 children.
Wow.
As much as we.
How old are you two?
My children today, they are 14. 12, excuse me.
Get it together.
Yeah, get it together. Yeah, 14, 12, 10.
Telling on yourself.
Yeah. Birthdays, there's too many of them. Every time I turn around, it's another birthday.
You've been a busy man.
Yes. And since I've been here, so yes, we have 14, 12, 10, and we have little Isaac who's 1 year old.
Oh, wow.
But just going back to my release, so obviously employment was an issue to me, and I found it very hard finding a job initially. And I remember one week I was in parole, and someone there representing the Center for Employment Opportunities, they spoke to us about, subsidized employment, where they actually pay you $40 a day to work at one of their work sites, and on the 5th day they send you out on job interviews to actually get permanent employment. So I remember, I think the address is like 75 Worth
75
Street.
An abandoned building somewhere downtown. They have
neighbor ready, right?
Yeah. No, it was CEO. That's
CEO.
CEO. Yeah. So I met Johnny. We were working at the same work site one day, in an abandoned building, cleaning an abandoned building, and it was crazy. It was a struggle, but it was very helpful to us to be able to get that work, for that day. And I remember Johnny very well because I met him. I only worked with him one day. We had a good, you bond with a person after you work with them 8 hours under the same circumstances. So we worked together, and he was speaking to me about getting out to networking events and just kind of speaking on these social justice issues, criminal justice issues, and things of that nature. And I said, you know what, I'd definitely love to, look into it. And he said, I'm gonna keep you. I'm gonna let you know about it when something else come up. And then I remember the next day we came in to work. They said Johnny Ho because he didn't come with his ID, I think. And they were strict. They were strict about that, And we could all laugh about that, but that was not funny. You know what I mean? That was a whole day's pay loss for a man who just came home after doing 13 years in prison. So that hurt my heart to see them. And in my head, I'm just like, please let him stay, let him stay, let him stay. But they're like, sorry, man, we got to send you home because you don't got your ID. And I remember Johnny from there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay. Now, does your organization emphasize rap music?
Yes.
Okay. So the all of the art.
Yeah. So
is that a part of what's going to happen at Columbia University?
Okay. So what took place at Columbia University already? So the opening weekend consisted of visual arts, poetry, which both of these gentlemen were poets at, and we had panel discussions, and we also had some graphic intervention, which is a workshop that I teach to young ladies in Rikers Island, 17 to 21. So now that particular conference wasn't the atmosphere for rappers, but moving forward, what we're going to do is we're going to create concerts and shows send it specifically for specific artists.
So is this designed to make money?
No, it's not. This is nonprofit. This is all nonprofit. Yes. Okay. So, yes. What's the disappointment for?
Okay.
Well, I'm thinking career. As you come out.
Yes. So touching on that, what we do want to do. Keep with that in mind is we do want to create entrepreneurial opportunities for our artists coming home. Okay. Yeah, so it would be beneficial to them and for profit for them, and we would teach them how to, to kind of get themselves together as an artist, establish themselves as an entrepreneur, and get out there and market their brand and market their name.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And all of these events, as long as it's free to participate in these events.
Okay, so is this only open to former
going back
inmates?
Formerly incarcerated artists, currently incarcerated artists. So we have some artists who are in prison, like I said, the gentleman who's on death row. We also have another gentleman who's in Lancaster, California. He's LWOP doing life without parole, and he was also a poet. He called in.
So what's the number again? Because there might be some people out there who want to become involved.
Yes. So the number to get more information would be 646-360-3661. Or you can email me at theconfinedarts@gmail.com, and we'll definitely respond to you. But also, just getting back to your question, so we'll create these specific events geared towards our rappers, our artists, those, and then what we're planning for September of this year is to actually have a play. And what we want to do is we want to have a play for this year. We'll have at least 2 of them per year, but the first one we want to start with a play that kind of shows people the generational effects of incarceration. How locking this man up for 30 years affects his son and his son and his daughter and so forth. So so yes, every artist will have a place at the Confined Arts.
Do you have a theater?
No, we don't. So what we have been doing, so the No, and we don't want to like contain ourselves to one place. We want to continue to, move around. What we have done, the first exhibition was at My Time Academy on 125th Street in Harlem. The second one was out in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and this third one is currently up at Columbia University. We are scheduled for the Confined Art, the Solitary Confinement Edition, which me and Johnny will speak a little more about that in a second. That one, is going to be at St. Francis in March, and then we have the 4th edition coming up at Hunter's School of Social Work in the summertime. So we're moving.
Let me just say something in terms of background.
Yes.
I know a number of brothers and sisters who have gone through the system and who are out here who are doing great things. Yes. And I want to emphasize that because too many times we get stuck, at a certain place in terms of what they did or what they, all right, so let's get beyond this, knowing every human being has frailties. Maybe some of us have not been pushed as far or have not gone to the level of others, but every one of us has a frailty, But I've seen like Jamal Joseph, Impact Theater. You know Jamal?
No, sir.
He's a former Panther. Jamal Joseph. He has something called Impact Repertory Theater.
Okay.
And he's a former Black Panther. And now he's at Columbia as well, I think. He teaches
that name sounds very familiar when you said it too.
Okay. And then there's a brother Forbes,
yes, Flores Forbes. Yes, he's a good man.
At Abyssinian Development. I don't know if he's still with Abyssinian Development Corporation, but he's with them. He's an urban planner and stuff like that.
Yes.
There are so many people. And that's why I said you're not what you did, you're what you do.
Yes.
And we need to emphasize, we need to stay on that. And brothers like these and sisters need to be encouraged going forward because it's not easy.
Yes, and just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, and I'll let Johnny finish this off because he has an example with this that I really like. But one thing I like to always say is that the question should no longer be why were you incarcerated, but what led to your incarceration. What were you up against? What were the circumstances? What are the conditions that you not to take away from accountability, but to also keep things in their proper perspective. We want to judge this correctly. We want to know what is it about your story that we don't know. Before we decide to call you inhumane.
That's right.
What I mean?
Because the creator, if I can say that, has given you so much.
Yes.
So there's so much more than what you were that you have to do.
Yes.
That's what I see.
Yes.
The Creator has given you an abundance. And anyway, go ahead.
Yes. But yeah, that's like one thing I really want to tackle moving forward is let's deal with things like social, your social economic status and things like that'll help us to keep everything in its proper context when we start to deal with these issues.
Yeah,
I think it's important also to emphasize, of course, not only encourage folks that are returning, but also beyond encouragement, but give people the resources in order to do what they need to do. When you think about it, right? When you think about it, it costs about $150,000 per year to hold somebody on Rikers Island. Now, if you take a young man of color or woman of color and $150,000, I bet you that we can help this person change their life around a whole lot more effectively than just placing them inside of a cell and then letting them rot. And when we talk about the conditions in which people that leads to incarceration, right? Without absolving yourself of individual responsibility for committing a crime, I get that, the personal choice piece. And for me, I definitely earned my spot inside that cell. But don't only look at my actions, but look at my actions within the context of my environment. And what that means is that where I grew up at, there's 24-hour pawn shops. As if people from my hood got gold just laying around in the living room to pawn at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's 24-hour liquor stores where I could get a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 for $2.99.
That negative reinforcement.
Now I went to Perez now recently, and I didn't see not one pawn shop. I didn't see a 24-hour liquor store. Any of those things. So when we're looking at exactly what leads to a person being inside that cell, it's real real easy to say, "Oh, you made a mistake," and to place the burden of responsibility on that person.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you did make a mistake, but let's talk about exactly what happened that led to that place. You know, and unfortunately, we live in a society that takes a punitive approach to certain behaviors. Why are we not taking a rehabilitative approach? You know, we've criminalized mental illness. We've criminalized drug use. You know, if a person got caught selling the TV to feed a drug habit, we lock them in a cell instead of sending them to a drug treatment program. So exactly where are we putting our financial resources at? Where are we putting our human resources at? And where are we putting our political capital? Because when I look around, I only see people that look like me, walk like me, talk like me inside of those cells, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, we already know that.
Yeah.
And we already know also that they're spending more money on prison reforms and stuff that they think is more important than education.
Well, speaking of education,
that's a fact.
we also do a lot of work around education, and it is a fact, right? For every dollar you spend in education, you save $5 in incarceration costs. Yeah. So why are we not doing that, right? And exactly, you know, why? More importantly, what do we need to do in order to move in that direction? Because we know the statistics, we know the numbers, we see where the money's going at, except that nothing's really happening. Of course, recently now there's a lot of talk to reform and kind of move in that direction, but of course more can be done, you know?
Okay. Well, but, you know, I'm hearing so many things, and this is this is one thing I want to say is that I've been talking for about 2 years now straight about doing a forum, a summit. Solutions and Survival Summit with young people. So make a note of that, because I might be calling upon some of y'all for your help in that regard.
Yes, absolutely.
Solutions and Survival Summit, because I feel, and it's I've heard this from other people, that they feel it as well, that there needs to be an ongoing, and I keep saying the narrative, but there needs to be an ongoing discussion in terms of where do we go? What do we do? How do we create options? How do we control our destinies? How do we control our narrative? How do we control and expand upon what we are doing? You have young minds that we all do. Everybody in this room has young minds that you're reaching out to, and young minds that look up to you for lack of a better word, for nourishment and for encouragement. So the thing is, I want to keep that conversation going, because we do not do it enough. Yes. We don't have enough black think tanks where we have this discussion. There are people who are in these I can't think of one off the hand, but the different think tanks. When I finish this, I'll think of it. But anyway. The different think tanks that they have in terms of policy and running this government and running this country, it's a 24/7 operation. We need to get into that mode. Whatever has carried us over can carry somebody else over, and we need to do that. Having said that, we have Brother Anthony Canones in the room, who's an author and a good friend to Harlem 411 and beyond, and always brings us engaging and enlightening folk to talk about, in the class, and we love that brother for that, and we love y'all. You know, we love y'all. Gotta say that.
Thank you.
Don't want to get. Ain't no funny thing.
We love y'all too.
We love you too. But so Aaron, what you gotta say, brother?
Just coming to show love to the brothers here doing their thing, brother Nate. Just coming to show my love, my salute to WACR, brother. You know how we do every Friday night.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
No doubt about it. And so we are getting down to the end of our conversation. But okay, so I heard you say that you want to do a play.
Yes.
And so you need to keep us abreast of how that proceeds.
Absolutely.
Because we want to make that connection. We want to make that link. I belong to the Circle of Brothers.
Yes.
Circle of Brothers is a small group of men, but we do some fantastic stuff.
Okay.
And I would like to be connected with y'all in terms of as you progress, because you have some stuff that you can pass on, especially if you're of a certain age.
Yes.
Where you can get to us and you can get to them.
Yes.
You can get to the younger brothers and sisters as well. So
Yes.
One of the ways in which we're trying to reach that crowd is the upcoming collaboration that we have on Saturday, March 12th.
Okay.
And you can definitely find all 5 of us, everybody in the room there. And the thinking behind it, right? The thinking behind it is that, particularly young folks, of course, with respect to older folks, appreciate art. So how can we use art as a catalyst for social change and to start these discussions where these discussions are not happening? And one of the things we talk about changing the narrative, and I appreciate about Nate's music when he talks about, he's not giving that negative message. He's not telling you to go out there and kill somebody, whatever the case may be. I was talking to a 17-year-old the other day who said that he was listening to a song by a popular rapper who told him that gangsters get fat, get old, and move to Miami. And I'm telling him the truth is gangsters get old and spend in the attic a yard for like 60 years because I've seen it with my own eyes.
That's a fact.
But speaking about art and how can we use the different forms of art to send that message, like the people in this room. So Saturday, March 12th at St. Francis College. Special shout out to Professor Dr. Emily Howards for really making it happen, and Hudson Link at St. Francis, which provides educational opportunities for people after incarceration to finish their higher education. And it's from 12 to 5. You can definitely find information excuse me. You can find information. You can follow us on social media, particularly me at Mr. Johnny Perez.
Yes.
You can also go to Isaac's Quarterly at Isaac's Quarterly on Instagram. We're going to be posting a lot of information about it. We just actually finalized the date today, so we're happy to announce that, and we're remaining accessible.
Okay, we're going to take a quick one. We're going to do a little Nate's music.
Beautiful.
We're going to do track 1.
Prophecy chapters. Yeah, drop it out. Yeah, drop that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
nice.
what's the name of that again?
That's called Prophecy Chapters.
Prophecy chapters.
Oh, yeah.
Where did it come from? What's the inspiration for that?
The inspiration was because there's a lot going on in the rap game right now.
Okay.
So I'm trying to just bring change to the the Walking Dead. That show on Sundays.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing the change to the
stay alert, stay alive.
Yes. I mean,
Nice. I like that.
yes, we definitely need a lot of our young people listening to that.
Well, we are coming down to the end of the program. I want all of you to give out your contact information so that people can get get in touch with you. There's a sister sitting in the back, and we're not trying to exclude you from this conversation. So, anything you want to say to anybody out there? You don't want to shout anybody out, nothing like that. You want to stay incognito? All right, incognito.
Well, I do want to just make one mention. You didn't say a whole lot about women. In art.
Uh-oh.
So
You wait till the end for that.
Guys,
Jumping up a can of worms.
You know what?
I mean,
and I don't exclude women are not excluded from this conversation in any way. And
we want to invite them.
Yes.
We want them to come.
Yes.
Especially if you have been incarcerated.
Yes, we definitely want you to come if you have. Yes, and I apologize.
Female, theatrical actresses.
Yes, and I apologize in any way if I've made this seem like it's a man thing, because it's absolutely not. It's about those artists who have been impacted by mass incarceration, point blank, period.
Okay, so ladies, you can come to.
Yes, you can come too, ladies. So email theconfinedarts@gmail.com, phone number 646-360 3661. You can follow us on Facebook at Opportunities and Change, Instagram at Isaac's Quarterly, Twitter at Isaac's Quarterly.
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank you all for being here.
Yes.
It has been good, and we want to do this again.
Yes.
We want to keep this flow going. Keep me, you got my number and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Keep me aware of events that you're doing. Wherever you are, and we can come and support you, and we'll let you know about events that we're doing, so you can come and help us do this thing.
Yes,
And once again, I just want to say to the people that are listening out there in the listening audience, and some of you who might be watching, if you look at, all I saw was 2 collegiate, or 3 collegiate, 4 collegiate. All I see is young collegiates sitting here. Y'all could come out of Howard, or you could be from anywhere. So
Very professional.
Exactly. The way they present themselves,
Yes.
they're eloquent, and that's what we have in our midst. And I call them the redeemed.
Yes,
of
yes,
God.
sir, yes, sir,
Yes,
yes,
thank
sir,
The
yes, sir,
redeemed of God.
Yes,
So y'all keep on doing what you're doing.
yes, sir.
This is Dr. King's birthday. And anybody got any words about Dr. King that you want to put forward, or any way that his inspired
Favorite
you?
quote or something?
I love the fact that he, I love that I had a dream speech. And, keep it traditional.
Okay.
I love that speech. It's very inspirational.
Okay.
And because he had a dream, he inspired me to have one, and I'm here right now providing opportunities for other people to pursue theirs. So yeah, shout out to Martin Luther King Jr. Man.
There you go. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to chime in?
Now, I just wanted to add that, especially with the race relations in this country right now, I can go on forever about what's going on. I think that in order for true reform and change to happen, that it has to include everybody. And unfortunately, it can't just be a thing about, it's only black folks that's complaining and so on and so forth. This is not a lot of it's a black and white issue, but absolutely. But besides that's a black issue, white issue. This is a human issue.
It's a human issue.
So it's that's I just want to put that in the air.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so the next show is getting set up. That's the Love Zone with Brother Maurice Watts. Maurice
Love Zone.
You know it. And as always, stay right there. Don't go nowhere. Playing into the Love Zone. Linda, I want to thank you for being a part of this, for being a part of Harlem 401, for being a co-host
you're
this
so
evening.
very welcome.
And you had some really pertinent. You're gonna keep me on my toes. I can see you because you cut straight to the chase, and that's a good thing.
That's a beautiful thing.
Keep the focus.
Thanks for having us.
We have a tendency to go.
Okay, all right. So we're going to do that, and keep listening out there in the listening audience. We are going to play a little Stevie Wonder, if I can get it up.